The Trump administration has decided to give billions of dollars of taxpayer money to another company trying to come up with a coronavirus vaccine, Pfizer, without any real explanation for how they're spending this money.
Pfizer and the government have struck an agreement for Pfizer to produce millions of doses of its vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine. Pfizer would deliver 100 million doses into the United States once the vaccine is approved. The agreement also allows the government an option to acquire an additional 500 million doses. The vaccine would be available to Americans at no cost.
I wonder when they say it's going to be at no cost to the American public, is it at no cost to the American public, meaning am I not paying myself or are taxpayers not paying? Meaning is Pfizer doing this as a gift?
No, I think the government
I assume there's some economic transfer of money from taxpayers, right?
Yeah. You would think. I think the government. This is the federal response that so many people have said is lacking. There has been a federal response for trying to get the vaccine and trying to get out.
The younger host there, Andrew Ross Sorkin, has gotten into it with the older host in the past, who's clearly a big Trump supporter. But to me, this is insanity. Pfizer will now be competing with Novavax, the other company that received billions of taxpayer dollars just earlier this month. Novavax has never even brought a product to market before in 33 years, but still got this money. And now it's reported that executives will be pocketing money even if the vaccine fails. And the New York Times has reported that there's very little disclosure of where the Trump administration is paying the money, where it's coming from. All the documents that they're seeing are heavily redacted, apparently. Let me be clear. I desperately want a vaccine to be developed, as does everybody. But what if these companies pooled their resources and information? I understand that many of them are using differing technologies and different ways to develop a vaccine, different methods. But imagine if there was a unified effort. There was all this outrage when Russia hacked into some of these big pharma companies' databases, according to the government, who don't take them at their word, and tried to get some information so they could develop their own COVID vaccine. I was like, good, fine, I don't care. This is such a crisis that all of these pharmaceutical companies should be working together, and that's not going to happen because we have a for-profit healthcare system in this country which kills people regularly, so they're fine with killing more people when it comes to coronavirus. Instead of the Trump administration incentivizing them working together in some way, they're just giving out contracts to individual companies, billions of dollars in taxpayer funds, and having them compete against each other. And in the case of Novavax, it's a sketchy company. Again, they've not brought a product to market in decades, in its entire existence. And yet they're still getting billions of dollars in contracts. And apparently they have ties to people in the Trump administration and Health and Human Services. And so that kind of leadership, that kind of pro-corporate giveaway mentality leads to stories like this. One of the leading U.S. firms developing a coronavirus vaccine, Novavax Incorporated, has awarded executives stock options that could pay out tens of millions of dollars even if its efforts fail. Novavax CEO Stanley Erck and 3 other executives would earn the options worth $101 million at Tuesday's closing stock price if the company's vaccine candidate enters a mid-stage clinical trial, regardless of its eventual success, according to a company filing. The incentive plan, which has not been previously reported, allows the executives to start exercising the options a year after Novavax starts the so-called phase 2 trial, as it expects to do soon. The Gaithersburg, Maryland-based company has not brought a vaccine to market in its 33-year history, but its market value has rocketed from $250 million to $8 billion in about 5 months on news of its coronavirus vaccine prospects. In a statement to Reuters, Novavax said the stock options were awarded to retain its top talent and recognize their intense effort. Launching a phase 2 trial quickly and under these circumstances is a significant achievement, the company said. The company did not address why the options were tied to mid-stage trials rather than the vaccine's ultimate success. We all know the reason. Executive compensation experts and patient advocates said the Novavax options skew incentives for executives by tying a massive payout to a short-term interim milestone. Drug companies like Novavax are getting billions of dollars from taxpayers to develop a COVID-19 vaccine, so it's certainly concerning to see their executives get massive payouts before we know if the vaccine actually works, said Eli Zupnik, a spokesman for consumer watchdog Patients Over Pharma. So one, even if they don't develop anything, their market value has skyrocketed from $250 million to $8 billion. $8 billion. Just off the publicity from people buying stocks thinking that they will manufacture the COVID-19 vaccine. By the way, if you bought those stocks, you're a sucker. Again, they haven't brought a product to market in 33 years. I don't really trust them. And it could be one of the many other companies that are getting contracts from the government. 2, so they got rich off of that. The stock value is just soaring many times over. In addition, executives rig the stock options in their favor, so they get rich by just doing the basic parameters of what the government money that was given to them said that they had to do. Take it to phase 2, not the success of the vaccine, phase 2. It is disgusting. But 3, Trump and his administration wasted taxpayer money on giving individual corporations these payouts instead of having them work potentially together to get the best product. He had them compete against one another in a race. And that's a waste. If it was all pooled together, it wouldn't have been a waste. And then you could fight over the proportionality of how these pharmaceutical companies get paid out. I mean, like, there's an argument to nationalize them, honestly. At least at this point. I mean, it is so dangerous, the game that we're playing here. We need a coronavirus vaccine, and trusting these companies, not just with taxpayer dollars, but to actually put out a good product when they're competing against each other and withholding information in this dangerous war and game of cat and mouse. It's stupid, and it's just another example of Trump administration incompetence and corruption.